A couple weeks ago, the Club Penguin fandom experienced one of the most monumental events in the community since the franchise's closure in 2018. I am of course referring to Bitzy Mouse's Club Penguin character Twitter tournament, which sought to determine which of these characters were the best of the best and up with the ranks of Sans Undertale. The tournament was a ton of fun, and it felt like the first time in a while that the Club Penguin fandom was truly united just to have some wholesome fun together. But everyone rooting for their favorite characters to win got me thinking. Who are my favorite Club Penguin characters? I mean, obviously I have my favorites, but I really do love them all. There's hardly any Club Penguin character that I flat out dislike or think has no value or purpose. I had never really thought to make an organized list of my all-time favorites before, so that's what I'm doing today. These are my top 10 favorite Club Penguin characters. Before we get started though, I just want to reaffirm that these are my top 10 personal favorite characters, not the objective best or most popular. I've got my opinions and you've got yours, and I'd love to see your list of favorites in the comments below. And while we're talking about comments, why don't you also like and subscribe? I also want to say that characters must originate from the canon Club Penguin franchise in order to appear on this list. So, Agent won't be on here. That said, it's possible that certain fandom experiences and Penguin Rampa have influenced the ranking of some of these characters. And if the algorithm gods somehow extend this video's reach beyond my target audience and you have no idea what a Penguin Rampa is, link in the description. Have fun! But with all of that out of the way, let's finally begin the countdown of my top 10 favorite Club Penguin characters. Starting with... Since I started this video talking about a tournament that was inspired by a certain other tournament, it only feels right to start things off by talking about Club Penguin's very own resident Tumblr sexy man. Naturally, I'm talking about the penguified love child of the Onceler and Bill Cipher, Skip the Bellhop. Unlike most of the other characters on this list, I don't actually have much nostalgia for Skip, because by the time he was introduced, I had already stopped playing Club Penguin. Skip's first and only appearance was during the 2014 Halloween party, where he tricked the player into collecting ghost puffles so he could steal their energy for himself, powering up his own ghostly powers to haunt the island forever. This makes Skip rather unique, as he's pretty much the only Club Penguin villain that's actually a penguin, or at least a ghost that looks like a penguin. The Skip lore is unfortunately not very fleshed out. Skip is probably the most popular Club Penguin character that was introduced during the modern era of the game. It was pretty cool to learn about such an interesting new character that I missed out on when I got back into Club Penguin years after I had stopped playing. Though my love for Skip mainly comes from Penguin Rampa, which is funny because he's not even in the actual story itself. Writing for Skip in the Halloween special was a ton of fun, and really made me appreciate him more than I already did. Of course, his pairing with a certain someone else also skyrocketed my appreciation for him, but don't worry about that. Skip will always have both a place in my heart and a page on the Tumblr Sexy Man wiki, which he definitely deserves. It's no secret that the PSA secret missions were without a doubt my favorite part of Club Penguin, a fact that I'll be bringing up many more times throughout this list. So I've got a ton of nostalgia and love for any recurring characters throughout those missions. As for the first one of those characters that I'll be talking about, Construction's his game and Rory's his name, Rory! Wait, I said his name twice, shit! Rory makes his mission debut in PSA Mission 7, Clockwork Repairs, one of my favorite missions, by the way. You also help him again in Mission 9, and he also appears during a side quest in Mission 11, where he's now rocking a spiffy orange visor. Rory wasn't just in the missions, though. He also appeared a lot in the Club Penguin Times, typically talking about the construction of upcoming parties. One of Rory's character traits is that he tends to speak in food idioms. There's no relevance to that whatsoever, I just think it's funny. Rory has always been one of my favorite side characters, but after spending so much time drawing him, I can confidently say he's probably the most fun Club Penguin character to draw. I can't explain why, he just literally always looks cool, no matter how you draw him. Except like that. PSA Mission 6, Secret of the Fur, scared me so bad as a kid. Up until this point, Club Penguin had always been a happy-go-lucky paradise where nothing seemed to ever go wrong. Seeing a bunch of penguins around the island genuinely frightened after seeing a monster was so vastly different to the problems we had faced in the missions thus far. One of the penguins even goes as far as hiding under couch cushions. The whole thing was just really unsettling at the time. Another thing to keep in mind is that the PSA missions didn't really have music outside of a few sound effects, so I need you to just imagine for a minute. You're an 8-year-old kid playing this creepy mission in complete silence, and as you're tracking down this horrifying monster, out of nowhere you suddenly hear this. Yeah, I closed out of that tab so fast. It took me multiple play sessions and muting the game audio before I finally worked up the courage to finish the mission. But even once I did, this scary monster was still at large, lurking somewhere on the island, plotting his next move. And then in the very next mission, you find out this guy's actually a total loser. Herbert P. Bear is Club Penguin's primary antagonist, and man is he a good one. Herbert is like the perfect goofy villain. He's like a mix of Bowser and Doofenshmirtz. Occasionally he can feel a bit threatening, but most of the time you just kinda laugh at him. Herbert is not evil, he's just petty and stupid, and also a big fluffy bear that I want to hug. But no matter how you feel about Club Penguin's enemy number 1, you can't deny that things just wouldn't be the same without him. Okay, I'm gonna cheat a bit here and combine 2 characters into one spot on the list. This is a dynamic duo after all, so there's no way I can split them up. I'm sure you can guess by now that I'm talking about Shadow Guy and Gamma Gal. I liked a lot of the plays at the stage, but Squidzoid vs. Shadow Guy and Gamma Gal was by far my favorite, though to be honest, it was mainly just for the music. One of my fondest memories with Shadow Guy and Gamma Gal, though, is the fact that they were on the first membership card I ever got for Club Penguin, which sort of just developed a positive association with them in my brain. I see the heroes, I get the membership, and you can't talk about Shadow Guy and Gamma Gal without talking about their real-life comic book Heroes Unite. This is where we learn how the duo meets and gains their powers, and also that their real names are Sam and Amy. I remember buying this book at a Scholastic book fair and just reading the whole thing in one sitting. It's not nearly as big or as fondly remembered as EPFDS, but this comic book is honestly up there with that game as being one of my favorite parts of the Club Penguin franchise as a whole. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't at least mention their roles in Penguin Rampa here. I've always thought they were pretty underrated characters and felt they had a lot of potential for a big story, so I was happy to give Shadow Guy and Gamma Gal the spotlight that they so desperately deserved. Like I said, Herbert is pretty good. Great even. But have you considered Crab? Klutzy first appeared alongside Herbert in PSA Mission 5, though he was the only one of the 2 to actually be seen in it. Herbert doesn't make his proper debut until the following mission, Questions for a Crab, where he tells you the story of how he sailed away on an iceberg to find somewhere warm to live, but in doing so he got lost at sea and ended up at Club Penguin instead. I know, I probably should have mentioned Herbert's backstory in his section of the list, but I'm mentioning it now for a reason. Klutzy was the one who actually saved Herbert from drowning and brought him ashore to Club Penguin. He's such a good boy. Klutzy then sticks around with Herbert and acts as sort of his comic relief henchman and also probably his son. He's just so scrunkly. Sure, there's not much to his design to set him apart from other crabs, but he's still just so cute that it hardly matters. Though I gotta say, the little freckles they gave him in Club Penguin Island? Adorable. This is perfect. I like both Herbert and Klutzy a fairly equal amount. They're an iconic villain duo, and you can't really have one without the other. But I am a bit biased towards small and cute characters, so I like Klutzy just a little bit more. We've talked about a lot of side characters and villains of Club Penguin, but let's finally talk about one of the main heroes. Or at least, a hero who accidentally puts the island in danger on multiple occasions. Gary the Gadget Guy is one of the most popular and recognizable Club Penguin characters, and for good reason. He's got a simple yet perfect design, one of the most fleshed out personalities, and due to his ability to invent literally anything, he's tied to the storylines of several parties and events. My connection to Gary mainly comes from the, now don't get too surprised here, the PSA missions in EPF games. Gary essentially acts as your guide throughout most of the missions, giving you instructions and some hints if you get stuck. As such, you really do start to form a bond with the guy as you complete each mission. Like he's this mentor-inventor who really cares about you and wants you to succeed. According to this Club Penguin guidebook that I wrote in when I was a kid, Gary was my favorite character at one point. He's definitely been bumped down a few spots since then, but this nerdy little dad man will still always be one of my all-time favorites. Look up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a jet, it's another EPF character. But most importantly, it's an image file format. It's JPG, of course. Jetpack Guy started as a nameless secret agent in PSA Mission 2, where he rescues you from the wilderness. I assume the only reason he had a jetpack was so he could feasibly transport you back to safety, but that one little design choice ended up being a core part of his character. They reused him again throughout the first EPF DS game, where he still didn't really have a proper name, but was instead referred to as the Jetpack Guy, in all lowercase. He then finally reappeared in PSA Mission 10, where Jetpack Guy became his permanent name. By the end of the PSA missions and throughout Herbert's Revenge, JPG had become a core member of the agency, and as such became fairly popular among the players who were really into the EPF side of things. Playing through Herbert's Revenge makes you feel a close connection to all of the agents in that game, but I feel like JPG especially helps you a lot throughout the final missions. And I kind of glossed over it before, but he really does help you a lot throughout the first game too. Despite his importance to the EPF, JPG never actually became a proper meetable mascot on Club Penguin, but at least he was brought back as a main character in CPI, where he's also, buff. Nice. Uh-oh. Looks like there's another EPF character on the list. How silly of me. But not as silly as Mr. Tournament winner himself, Rookie! Like Jetpack Guy, Rookie also sort of started off as a nameless side character, usually being referred to as the Rookie, as he was a novice secret agent designed to be even stupider than you were when you were a mere child. But also like JPG, this name ended up sticking and he just became known as Rookie from there on out. Also, while we're on the subject of JPG, I obviously can't ignore the romantic tension between these two. Jetkey is by far the most popular Club Penguin ship, and it should come as no surprise that I'm a big fan of it too. But let's just focus on Rookie himself right now. Rookie is your typical comic relief character, often making clumsy mistakes or cracking corny jokes. Rookie excels at this archetype in my opinion, by not simply being unbearably stupid, but instead just being a little too enthusiastic. Of course a guy like him would read computer bugs as computer hugs. He's just got such a unique and whimsical charm in the ways that he's an idiot. I don't think I need to say at this point that the missions in DS games play a huge factor into why I love Rookie, so instead, I'll mention the April Fool's Day parties. These were some of the most fun parties on Club Penguin, and they were probably my favorite recurring party too. Rookie was typically involved with these, obviously due to how much of a fool he is himself. Pause. I just admire Rookie. I want to be like Rookie. I want his propeller hat. I love propeller hats. Propeller hats are peak character design. I'm just gonna keep writing propeller hat in the script because I can't think of a way to end this segment. Propeller hat, propeller hat, propeller hat. Woo! Alright, before we get to the top two, I want to go over some honorable mentions. I know honorable mentions typically come right before number one, but I don't know, I just feel like doing it now. So here are some characters that didn't quite make the list. Cadence, absolute queen with a perfect singing voice. I used to think it was cringe that she said lol so much, like, ugh, we gotta say the funny lols to be hip with the kids, but now I think it's funny. LOL! Antarctic, another girl boss, literally. I stopped playing Club Penguin like right before Operation Blackout, but I still saw the director reveal video in my YouTube recommendations at the time, and my jaw dropped. I still get chills watching that video to this day. Next up, the Elite Puffles. Surprise, surprise, I have a lot of nostalgia for these guys because of their importance to the EPF DS games. I wish the Elite Puffles were utilized more in the online game though, but at least we got flair. My favorites though are Flit and Chirp. Speaking of Puffles and the EPF, let's not forget Puffle Handler /PH/Page/ are there any other names I should know about? Since most of my Club Penguin experience during the modern era was just replaying the DS games, I do tend to associate PH more with her older design, but man, her redesign is a complete upgrade. She just has so much more character here. Love this lady. And finally, the last honorable mention goes to all 5 of the Club Penguin TV special kids. Roofhouse, Changra, Blizzard, Sidmal, and Lorna. I was a bit iffy on them when I first watched the specials, because I wanted to see stories about the Club Penguin characters that I already knew and loved. not whoever these people were, but I warmed up to them very quickly. They have such good chemistry with each other and are just fun to watch on screen. I really wish they got their own full-length series, or were at least acknowledged in the online game, but we unfortunately never saw them again. If I had to pick a favorite of the 5, I'd say Lorna.
Always chasing the next ice floe, maybe on the run from the law? I get it!
And that's all of the honorable mentions. Let's get back to the list and talk about my second favorite Club Penguin character of all time. He should not be this high on the list. Like, this shouldn't be allowed. It should not be allowed for this character to be number 2 on a top 10 list. If you went back in time to either when I was a kid or when I got back into Club Penguin in 2017, or even 2 years later in 2019, and you told me this character would rank this high on my list of favorites, I would just laugh. I would laugh at you, because there should be no possible way that such an unimportant, unmemorable character with no distinct characteristics could ever be one of my favorite characters of all time. Yet here we are. My second favorite Club Penguin character is Jeff the Ref. Like Shadow Guy and Gamagal, Jeff is originally from a stage play, though not as a lead character. He simply just appeared as the referee in the Team Blue series of plays, starting with Team Blue's Rally 2. Jeff's true big debut, however, was in Club Penguin Game Day for the Nintendo Wii, where he acts as the referee and host of sorts to all of the activities going on around the island. After that, he never appeared in canon again. None of what I just said has anything to do with why I love Jeff, by the way, but you probably already knew that, and if you didn't, allow me to go over a brief history of the Jeff the Ref Penguin Rappa lore. It all began back in January 2020 when I made an offhand comment on Discord about how I had regretted not including Jeff the Ref in Penguin Rampa. There were a few jokes here and there about Jeff being the secret 16th participant or the mastermind after that, but things didn't get crazy until April, where I made an actual sprite for Jeff as a joke, and then an introduction video for him as if he was supposed to be in Penguin Rampa all along. After that, Jeff's popularity exploded in the Discord server, and memes of his godlike status quickly spread. It was kinda like seeing all those old Club Penguin rumors back in the day, but instead of something cool like ninjas or tipping the iceberg, it was just this stupid referee. Still, I couldn't help but want to make this dumb fandom meme a reality. There was a brief Jeff reference, a Jeffrence if you will, in Chapter 4, and after that, I decided to make Jeff a part of the non-canon holiday specials. The early memes of Jeff being an all-knowing god is what made him the fourth wall-breaking penguin you know him as today. Not to mention, people started shipping him with Skip for some reason. But like, I also fell in love with that idea. I don't know why, these two never interacted or even existed at the same time as each other in canon, but like, they're just perfect together. I don't know if there's some color theory explanation or something, but seeing these two together just looks so right. To me, Jeff the Ref represents not necessarily Penguin Rampa itself. I mean, obviously not, he's not even in the main story, but he instead represents the Penguin Rampa community and the multitude of inside jokes and good times we've had together over the years. To the rest of the Club Penguin fandom, Jeff the Ref is just that guy from Game Day. But to us, and especially to me, he's something so much more than that. So, thank you, Jeff, and thank you to everyone who makes him so special. But we're still not done. Jeff fought a good fight, but not enough to surpass the one who's been my long-standing favorite. And that character is... Get it? It's Dot. Yeah, this shouldn't be a surprise. Dot the Disguise Gal is my favorite Club Penguin character of all time, and also one of my favorite characters in all of fiction. Why? Gee, I don't know, maybe because she's perfect? Dot first appeared in the original EPFDS game, where she recruits you into the Elite Penguin Force and acts as your guide throughout the game. I thought she was so cool as a kid. I remember seeing her pop out of that barrel for the first time and listening to her talk about the EPF, and I was just like, Man, I hope I can be as cool of an agent as Dot someday. Then, like a year later, the final PSA mission came out, and keep in mind, up to this point, there had been hardly any references to Dot or the DS game in general in the online game. So when you get to the end of that mission and see Dot come out of the cabinet to the command room holding the DS-shaped spy gadget from the DS game, my mind was blown! Seriously, this moment in The Veggie Villain is hands down my favorite moment in all of Club Penguin history, because it combines the stories of both the PSA missions and the first DPF game in such a simple yet satisfying way. And it's this moment right here that solidifies Dot as being my favorite Club Penguin character of all time. Even with that aside, Dot is just cool in general. Her disguise ability is hilariously overpowered to the point where she might as well just be a shapeshifter. I also love all of her designs. Her first one is cute, her second one is the coolest, her third one is stylish, and... okay, I want to hate this design. They changed everything about her, like, this is just an entirely different character at this point. But man, she's so pretty! This is still a really good character design on its own. So much so that they didn't even change it for CPI. All Dots are beautiful, especially this one. That's all I really have to say about Dot. I know I didn't talk about her as much as I talked about Jeff, but I sort of had to explain a lot of things to describe my love for him, whereas, I mean, loving Dot is just self-explanatory, honestly. I mean, look at her. She's the best. That's the end of the sentence. Period. Wait, I should have said Dot. Fuck!